Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, The Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. It is that time again, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Coming up in just a minute, we'll talk to Blake to see what's going on in the real estate world around the Grand Strand. Just a second. After you listen for the next 30 minutes, maybe you're listening for the first couple minutes, you're like, I need to talk to this guy more. Real easy to do. Here's the contact information. 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or you can go online to the website, which is blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. Very simple stuff, but we'll repeat that for you several times over the next 30 minutes in case you didn't get it the first time around. Let's go ahead and bring him in, get the show started. Here's Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Got an awesome brand new show. A lot of great stuff we'll talk about today. And this week we finally got the data. I want to dive into the micro market, right? Which is kind of what everybody likes. That's like what's the ins and outs of my hyper local zip code doing. And that's one thing that, a lot of agents don't even know what the heck a micro market is. And that's real estate agents. And so it's important to know that data, to go into that data. So we'll talk about some very interesting numbers, to say the least. And so we'll talk about how each area compares the south in the Grand Strand to north in the Grand Strand, etc. Obviously, we'll recap the overall macro numbers who missed last week's show, so you can kind of get a feel for what the market's doing itself. It did pretty well last month, which is great after 3 months of straight decline. The one thing, too, we'll look at, which is really cool, a report we're going to look at, take a look at where Americans moved in 2018. And it talks about, I think, the top 8 states where people moved out of and the top 8 states where people moved into. And the great news for us is we were obviously on the list that people move into. Yep. And so it'd be a great, at least some good cocktail party talk for anyone that's listening too, so you can kind of talk about where everybody moved away from, where everybody's moving to. And as everyone can see on the streets and from all the building happening around here, there's a lot of people that are moving here. So we'll talk about how we stack up, what the number one place was as well. Also, we're hiring A players. If you know anyone looking to join a high performance team, we're still growing like crazy. Like I mentioned a few months ago, we have not pulled my foot off the pedal, even with a market decline before, and we're seeing the fruits of that now. And because the bottom line is, we're a seasonal marketplace here. People are already stacking up to come in town, and so we're looking to always add A players to our team, which is good. And we'll talk about, if we have time too, did you know how much your homes increased in equity over the past year? It's a national study that we have. It's got some very interesting stuff, and also more than anything, some really cool success stories. My team's still kicking butt, and we'll talk about those as well.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to, so don't go anywhere. We'll get to everything here within the next 30 minutes. Thing is, if you're just tuning in for the very first time, you don't know who this guy is. He's been called the real estate whiz kid, Blake Sloan has. He's been featured all over the place in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, other national publications. You've seen him on TV with NBC. You've seen him on with Fox and Friends. You hear the endorsements right here from Glenn Beck, Sean Hannity, Barbara Corcoran, Gary LaVox, from a whole lot more. Altogether, it's just unprecedented in the world of real estate, especially in our market here. But as far as Blake is concerned, he's got his trademark systems as well to help both buyers and sellers. If you'd like to know what that's all about, you can find out more by talking to him directly, but he does like to give a little taste of some of the most important. As a matter of fact, the most important part of his systems comes down to one thing.
Yes, and this is actually a funny story. Kind of my ADD kicked in right there, but a funny story. One of our competitors, we caught them calling us this week to try to kind of figure out what that was. And we have some technology that can reverse engineer like emails and numbers, and end up being to one of our competitors who is kind of notorious for trying to copy what we do. And so that's one thing that we call them the plagiarism group. And so the reality is there's something that to be had about it, and it is legitimately like this is a well-designed system that people kind of want to know. And so what does that mean? And back to what Dave was talking about, the single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only, period, right? And that thing is the agent that you choose, because people make this mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same. That could not be further from the truth, right? There's just a massive difference. That'd be like saying all radio stations are the same. It's the same thing in our industry, and the reason that is because in selling a property, there's 118 different variables, which is a lot, right, from A to Z. And if each one of those is handled correctly, like through the process, that takes that and puts money in your pocket. And so each one stacked up creates a gap, or it obviously costs you money. And so what we did is we identified every single one of those variable points, to create a proven, repeatable system, which we did, that creates maximum leverage every single point. And so at the end, it's like stacking the dominoes. You build momentum through that, and at the end, there's a big gap between our clients and obviously other consumers out there who do not have someone to help them with that process, right? It's called the Guaranteed Sold System. It's the only proven system to sell homes twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well, right? And again, it's like we talk about every single time, but it's important to talk about that, is that it's like running a marathon or an Ironman or whatever it is. Everyone takes off at the same time, right? You run through that, some finish way ahead of everyone else. The same thing in golf, right? Everyone talks a golf tournament, and they're playing the same course, same holes, similar type clubs, but you see some that finish way higher or way lower than everyone else. It's the same exact thing that we do in those small increments, and it's very, very important to look at, because we always say that success in the details, and we always have this thing, details matter. So if your agent drops the ball, that costs you money. Well, guess what? On the buyer side, there's 100 plus variables to manage as well. They're opposite variables, they're different variables. And so what we did is reverse engineer those to create maximum leverage every single point to give our client a huge competitive advantage. It's called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System, the only proven system to get you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation in the purchase process and also in home inspection process, all the way through closing. So both of those are huge in giving you a competitive advantage. If you're a home seller out there and your agent drops the ball, because the reality is they're servicing a bunch of listings, right? Or they're spending their time trying to hunt down new listings, right, which leaves an area open to lack of execution in the listing process. AKA, when you call them, do they answer the phone? When you call that for sale sign number, does somebody answer that's knowledgeable about your property, that can answer at 7, 8 o'clock at night? Because if not, guess what? That ball has been dropped. And so all these stacked up over a month, 2 months, 3 months makes a massive difference to your bottom line as well.
Well, that's a pretty easy litmus test to take. If they don't answer the phones, then they're probably not working for you. So, I mean, we know that your people are working and you're working hard.
Yeah, and we got people trying to buy your property and they can't even buy it if they want to, which is even crazier, right? And so the reality is those details matter. It has to be, and here's the thing. In our industry, people have good intentions to. It's not they don't want to answer it. The reality is there's not enough time in the day to do the 100 plus variables on the other listings plus your listing and find new listings at the same time. Yeah. The problem there is you have to have a team or what we call a system in place through technology and humans who are very good. And it's still tough to have really good humans. Part of what we do is I'm just pushing hard on my team all day, every day, trying to find that fine line between them quitting and them pushing harder, not really, but I'm pretty intense to work for because you got to be in today's time. And so anyone out there that wants to know more about that, reach out to us, 843-808-SOLD, but the bottom line is that details matter.
All right, absolutely. We got a lot of great stuff coming your way in just a minute. As Blake teased you with a second ago, micro markets. What's happening in your zip code as far as sales are concerned? What are homes going for? You want to know? That's all coming up in just a second. Also, we'll find out some of the most important numbers that you'll find all week long. The mortgage rates, what are happening with those? Up, down, same? We'll find out with that in just a minute as well. Stick around. You are listening to the Expert Advantage the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show, with Blake Sloan. Give him a call at 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hey, it's your friend Sean Hannity. Now, if you own property in Myrtle Beach, the national marketing plan of the realtor that you choose is absolutely critical. Now, that's exactly why you need to talk to Blake Sloan at Sloan Realty Group. Now, Blake has a marketing system on a whole different level than anyone else in Myrtle Beach. That's so effective at capturing local buyers from around the world that he can guarantee to sell your home at a price and a deadline that you agree to, or Blake's going to buy it. While most agents rely on yard signs and open houses that attract the occasional buyer, Blake attracts hundreds of buyers each month, which creates demand and helps your property sell fast and for top dollar. Now, that's why on average, Blake sells a property every single day of the year and is ranked among the top 100 agents in the entire U.S. by the Wall Street Journal. Now, working with Blake is risk-free. Now, if you're not happy, Blake gives you the freedom to cancel your contract and pay nothing. So give Blake a call today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or just go online and see Blake's interview on NBC at blakesguarantee.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Myrtle Beach, I would hire Blake Sloan. His international marketing creates so much demand that if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, Blake will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
Show with Blake Sloan. A lot of great stuff coming your way in just a second. Mortgage rates, we'll find out what the numbers are. You're going to be, what kind of money you're going to be missing out on. That's coming up in just a second. Right now, though, find out what's going on in your zip code all around the Grand Strand with the micro markets and the real estate update. What are you seeing, Blake?
All right, so quick recap first. I'll just recap really quick. Anyone, we'll do a general overview of the macro market, which is like, what's the entire market doing as a whole? What's the Myrtle Beach? If you put all the zip codes together, what would the whole area be doing? So last month, we actually had an increase. We had 3 straight months of decline after the hurricane, which is very scary. We're also seeing this across the country right now. But the great news, resale homes last month for single family, which is houses, was up 4.3%, which is awesome. So if you look at January of 2018, there were 348 home sales. Pretty good. Well, this year, 363 home sales with a 4.3% increase, which is awesome. Very, very, very glad to see that. The cool part here, too, is looking at median price. Median price is up 10.5%, which is awesome at $210,000. So if you look at January last year, median price is $190,000 on the dot. Now we're at $210,000. So great news there. About $10,000 in equity per $100,000 your house is worth overall, which is pretty doggone cool. In my book there, if you look at days on market, they jumped down last month too, which is pretty cool. They were selling basically about 6% faster last month than the same month before. If you remember, in whatever that is, October, November, December, they were all down. That trifecta we talked about in the show there as well. One of the things kind of driving this is inventory. Right now we're at 5.1 months of inventory. We're basically the same as December, and we were last week, because it's real-time numbers, obviously, we were scratching that surface of 5.0 months, which means it's low. That's why you're seeing that jump in price, even with a pullback in sales of previous months, right? Because when there's less properties in the market, people are having to bid up. And I think we had 3 or 4 properties this week that we sold on the listing side that had multiple offers, meaning multiple buyers buying at the same time that drove the asking price up. And so that's one of our success stories we'll talk about overall with that. If you look at new construction, last month, closed sales did decline. They were down 14.8%. Again, some of that has to do with some inventory struggles from after the hurricane we ran into. But the one thing that's still been very solid with new construction across the board is prices going up 14.6% with a median price of $273.73. And why we're seeing that is because so many people are coming to town. They're buying here, they're building here, and they're coming with money from up north. And that's why I've been dialed into that up north, northeast for a long time. We talked about this for years now. And that's why I noticed back in 2000, I got the business in 2005 in January, but in 2006, 2007, I was teamed up with my mom back then. And because my whole family's whole real estate, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma. I'm 3rd generation real estate agent. It's crazy. And they did not want me to get into real estate. They wanted me to be like a doctor, a lawyer. I was very, very good in school. And I was always kind of a nerd, right, for like numbers and certain things. But ultimately, I was very fascinated with business. So we got in there, teamed up with her. And I remember said one day, like, man, this is crazy. You know what? Everyone with money is from up north, statistically, right? You're seeing like this. They see value. We would come here and show them a $250,000 house, and they'd be like, "Oh, this is a steal," And so if you had someone like myself who grew up here, and they're like, "Oh, 250's high," because when I grew up, those prices were 150, And so the reality was, I was very well dialed in. Well, being an internet nerd kid, kind of they called me, I was learning about geo-targeting. How do we target people online? How do we find people based on their IP address? And so I noticed New Jersey, even way back then, was where the money was at. I think we've sold to like maybe 18 to 20 NYPD retired police officers that they refer to a friend, and because they had the pension, they sell their property up there. That's worth $400 or $500. They buy $200 to $250 here. It's a steal, and cost of living's lower. And so that was what we did from a business standpoint, strategically, is dial in there and target people online. So long story short, that's what's keeping our prices up. Double-digit pricing even with sales decline, because you're seeing inventory dry up as well. And so that's something we'll talk about here in a minute with new construction. Last thing really quick here, condo resales last month up 9%. And so we saw a huge recovery last month. I'm super excited about that for January, and I think we'll kind of see that continue here for us going as well. 339 condo sales last month, which is great. Prices stayed flat pretty much at 132, 100. All right, so we'll fly into the micro market. This is where everyone gets me the most feedback on. Obviously, I got to run through it because everyone wants to know what's my zip code. And I'm telling you, if you ask most real estate agents, you have a friend, ask them, hey, what do you know about the micro market? Guarantee they will have no clue about it, right? It's just one of those things that, from a detailed matter standpoint, if you look at one neighborhood who's up double digit versus another area which is down double digit, but if you base your strategy on the overall Myrtle Beach real estate market, you're setting yourself up for failure, right? You got to know hyper level market data to be able to make the good decision. So here we go. Run into the obviously the most, I guess the most largest gauge you'd say for our area is Myrtle Beach, right? 29577 and 29572. That's just because it's a middle area. Closed sales in January up 31.5%, a huge jump. It went from 54 last year to 71 this year, which is awesome in that regard. Median sales price up 16.5%. It went from 276 to 322, and so you're seeing that is some pretty powerful numbers. If you're a home seller in the Myrtle Beach area, 29577, 29572, you want to take advantage of this for sure, which is awesome. They're getting 98.2% of list price in Myrtle Beach, which is awesome, and that's taking them a little longer to sell. It's taking 12.5% longer to sell in Myrtle Beach, 142 days on average there. And inventory in Myrtle Beach was down 6.5%. So sales up 31%, inventory down, which is why you're seeing the overall jump in price of 16.5%. So those areas kicking butt big time. Condos in Myrtle Beach area actually down 3.1%. Median price was down 6%. At 118,500. That could have to do with condo tails. Like sometimes you see a lot of smaller efficiency units listed. That you want to probably get into like building, or obviously there's different sections based on what area of the boulevard you're on too. So you just reach out to me if you want to know what your investment property is worth. There's a lot of nuances to those type properties we dig into. Surfside, for example, down 33%. They went from 33 sales in January last year to 22 this year, which is not bad. Price is flat. 236,450. It was 237 last year. So right on the dot. Days on market, properties taking 11.2% longer to sell. That's something we'll keep watching. And inventory in Surfside up 6.0%. The condos though up in Surfside up 10.5%. Not a whole lot of condo sales. Garden City, Myrtle's Inlet, sales down 9.4%. Prices in Myrtle's Inlet and Garden City down 9.2% with a median price of 236. So you guys can see the difference already, right? Double-digit increase in Myrtle Beach. You're seeing almost a double-digit decrease in Garden City, Myrtle's Inlet. So your area matters. And obviously, with Garden City, Myrtle's Inlet, there's a million different neighborhoods and styles. You got properties on the creek. You got properties on the ocean. You got properties in 707. So you definitely want to worry about your neighborhood. We have software that'll export your neighborhood and your area, and it'll graph them based on size, area. So we're able to kind of, we call it visual pricing, which is important. Pollard's Island, Litchfield is kicking butt. Sales up 25%. We actually just sold 2 in Pollard's Island the past 2 weeks. Very high end properties that were very, very great, estates to sell. So very, very proud of that. Median price up 4.5%, 344, 335 is the median price there. And inventory in Pollard's Island, Litchfield jumped 20% almost. It went from 249 last year to 301 this year. There's not many condo sales there. Socastee closed sales dropped down 10.1%, but the numbers there are not that much different. So like last year there's 79, this year 71. So only 9 less home sales. So that's not a big deal. Median price up 6.7% right now in Socastee. Median price for a home is $192,000. Which is up from 179 last year. Carolina Forest closed sales up 3.4%, which is great news. Price is up 8.1%. The median price for Carolina Forest, man, this is crazy. Just doing this show for like 8 years now. How long have we been doing this show? 7, 8 years? Yeah, a long time. Never thought I'd see that median price $295, $972. That's awesome news for anyone out there lives in Carolina Forest. Where you're seeing that. And that's almost like the second place candidate to Myrtle Beach that you see people want to move into as well. Inventory is up down 7.4%. So if you're thinking about selling in the Carolina Forest area, that formula is right. You got sales up, right? Prices up, inventory down. That's going to drive up prices. You definitely don't want to wait till spring if you're thinking about selling in Carolina Forest. North Myrtle Beach pretty much flat. There were 33 home sales in January this year. Last year they're at 35, so only 2 short. Not a whole lot different there. Prices though in North Myrtle Beach up 6.1%. The median price right now is $350,000 in North Myrtle Beach, where last year it was $330,000. And days on market is down 16%, which is awesome. Takes about 152 days to sell a property in North Myrtle Beach right now. and inventory is down 9.9%. A couple more here. Little River, sales are down 21%. Again, these numbers are so small sometimes it's skewed where there's 46 sales last year, 36 sales this year. So not that bad. And some of these are more seasonal than others. The good news is inventory is down 7.6%, and prices is kind of holding up in that regard. Prices up in Little River almost 32%. They went from 189 to 250. So great news there. Same thing you're seeing there. Conway, everybody wants to know, down 13%. But the good news is prices are up 6.1%. And so right now, median price at Conway, 175, creeping right up to 200. That's been at a huge area of growth. There's a lot of new construction that's probably not taken into account there because they're just not tracked into our our software. But bottom line, last one here, Georgetown, they're pretty flat. There's not a whole lot of sales, only 16 sales. Is showing that city zip code there. Last month, prices are flat, 173,000. Last year, they're 177. So bottom line is we're coming into the market where everyone's coming into town right now. We have our agents been on the phones all day, every day with everyone from up north, and every time there's snow up there, which has been a lot lately, they're blowing up the internet, right? And so our team's following back up, searching with them. We have a really cool story I'll talk about in a few minutes if we have time. That the AI, we have the bot, right? His artificial intelligence. It's unbelievable stuff. There's a buyer who came on the site who wanted to look in Hilton Head, and we finally got on there, happened in the middle of the night. Next thing you know, the bot had convinced them that Myrtle Beach was a great investment and that they were coming into for an appointment in there. We were just blown away at how advanced the technology is. So we'll talk about that if we have time in a few minutes.
That's kind of scary, too.
Crazy, right?
Pervasive and persuasive they could be. So
yeah, I guess we got to hit the mortgage rates real quick, right?
Well, actually, we can do that. I started the music, then I'll stop the music. Go, do it.
Yes, I'm in the zone today, right? So 30-year fixed rate right now, 4.46%. The great news is it was 4.45 last week. So kind of what led to that is for anybody that maybe not be following it, is it went to some high levels, but it dropped back down once that this past week. There was some weaker than expected retail sales report came out. I think they were waiting for that almost 2 months because of that government shutdown. And so that helped rates for us, obviously, which is great. So, man, we went, from a while back to almost 2-year highs. Now we're back down to lows again, which is really good. And so great news for anyone. It's helping. That's what you're seeing, in my opinion, this bounce back a little bit last month in home sales because people are seeing rates go back down, which is great. 15-year fixed rate right now, 4.07%. A 30-year FHA is 4.14%. A jumbo loan is 4.29%. And a 5-year adjust rate, 4.37%. So right now, great buys. That's why if you're a home seller, you want to get your house on the market still while rates are still low.
And do it right now. Do not wait. What you need to do. All right, we'll start the music back up. All right, coming up in just a second, we got your hot buyers alert. Also, we'll see some success stories and a lot more coming your way in just a minute. If you want to get in touch with Blake Sloan, you can. It's easy. Call him now. It's Sloan Realty Group. The phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com.
Do you want your home sold on time and for the most money without all sorts of excuses? Hi, it's Glenn.
I know we're long, right?
I went through several agents who
How far are we?
How
far are we? How many?
Well,
I know I'm pretty far, right?
If I lived in Myrtle Beach, no question, I would call Blake
5 minutes?
of Sloan Realty Group. Blake has a market
That's what I figured. Okay.
that reaches buyers from around
Let's just do, we'll do hot buyers, and then I'll just kind of run through that part.
That creates incredible demand, and that's why he can guarantee to sell your home at a price and a deadline that you'll agree to, or he's going to buy it. Plus, you don't really risk anything when you list with Blake, since if he doesn't live up to the contract, you walk away free and clear. It's really no wonder why Sean Hannity and I, along with real estate tycoon and Shark Tank star Barbara Corcoran, endorse Blake. Call Blake Sloan right now, 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or visit Blake's website, that's blakesguarantee.com, blakesguarantee.com. Or listen to Blake's Real Estate Show every Saturday morning at 9 or Sunday morning at 11:30, right here on WRNN.
Back to the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Call Blake at his office at Sloan Realty Group. The phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. Of course, you just heard Glenn Beck tell you that. Coming up in just a minute, we've got some great success stories. Right now, though, time for your hot buyers alert. Blake and his team working with so many people who are looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area in the range between $150,000 to $3.5 million. It's a big range, but if you're in that range anywhere and even just thinking of selling, contact Blake immediately. He needs the inventory, he needs it badly. He wants it right now. The same phone number, 843-808-SOLD. Lots of people looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area. They've just crossed another barrier. Over 52,000 people, active home buyers, on your websites right now, Blake, looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area.
Yeah, I was like, I'm watching them move around like right now, which is crazy. Right now, Tim Craven from Williamson, West Virginia, is on the site. We got Talia McCarthy from North Myrtle Beach, Don Preja from Lexington, South Carolina. We do get a lot of people from like Columbia, Lexington area that comes in here a lot, which is important as well. Louis Allegro, who's on the site, and he's actually from Willimantic, Connecticut. And so, like I said, from all over. We get them from all over the globe, most of which north. We get a lot of Nevada, California, but the bottom line is, like he was saying, we need inventory. If you're thinking about selling, reach out. The one advantage you have with us is I'm spending money up front before your house ever gets on the market, right? Our buyer team gives us a huge advantage because we have buyer experts who are serving them, selling them houses on the buy side, regardless if you ever list your house with us or not. The advantage you have, though, is obviously I'm in business to make money. My job is to match sellers and buyers up. So guess what we're very good at? Matching buyers and sellers up. We even develop technology that'll take any new listing we get and it reverse engineers the most likely buyer for that property based on their previous search pattern. So it's like when you're on Facebook and you get an ad for something that's similar to what you are, the same type thing that we do based on their search patterns. And so it allows us to take your listing and share that with somebody we've marketed to. And obviously our business model allows us to outspend the average agent 100 to 1. If this is something that you want to learn more about, reach out, call me. When we show anyone, if you listen to last week's show with Jeremy, he talked about what it's like on people's faces when they see it. It absolutely blows your mind because we show you real time. I will show you like dollar amounts of like what we spend, what we do, and it absolutely blows people's mind because it's a whole different world. And so what I did is looked at what people did outside of real estate, brought that into real estate, and that gives us a huge advantage. And the one thing right now, if you look this, the one thing is the market's different than this year than a lot of years. We're seeing low inventory right now. Rates bounce back down. You want to take advantage of this. I think we're going to see a much earlier market than usual because of what we've seen in other areas of the country. They're seeing slowdowns right now. We're not, because thankfully a lot of the people moving out of these other states are moving back here right now as well. How much time we got?
I just got a little over a minute.
All right, so the one thing too, if you know someone that wants to play at a high level, I'll save this other report of where everybody's moving and moving out. I'll tease it. The number one state people moved into was Vermont, which is crazy. The two that everyone moved out, which everyone knew, New Jersey, Illinois.
Yeah.
I wonder why that, But the reality is they're moving here for cost of living. And so if you're thinking about selling, take advantage of the seasonality right now while people are moving. But we're adding to our team. We have amazing 60-day acceleration program, training literally 5 days a week for anyone that wants to be able to join our team. Any agents out there, reach out to us. We have massive amounts of clients from all over the globe. They're looking to move as well.
All right, so you got a lot of great information. If you want to get more, that 30 minutes just flies by. But if you want to talk more at length and more in depth with Blake Sloan, it's easy to do. Call him at his office. Now remember, don't get confused. There might be different ones, but Sloan Realty Group. Look for Sloan Realty Group, or just call 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to BlakeSloan.com, BlakeSloan.com. Blake, a lot of stuff, and we'll do more next week.
Yeah, next week. And also, you can always watch this on YouTube. Just go search me up on YouTube as well. It's a live stream.
Sounds good. Oh, yeah, so you can just relive what you may have missed over the last 30 minutes. It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary Levine.